currently there's like a massive heat wave in Queensland at the moment. Don't ask me why, but we woke up this morning and the boys wanted to turn the DELICA into a swimming pool. So, how is this a good idea, you reckon?
How are we gonna do it is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Well, how strong is this latch? If we fill that with water, it's gonna wanna like boof.
That's what we think, we don't really know.
We don't know until we do it.
How high do you want to fill it?
But the
Like
thing
high,
is,
it's gonna be like a jumping diving pool.
we need to have this door open though.
Keep in mind, I literally just bought a new motor for this car, so I don't want to completely f it because that's a waste of money.
Yeah, like we fill it up and we're in the pool and then even just around the yard and then we hit the brakes hard and like just...
Should we go down to the dam?
That's out the pool. Yeah, I'll go to the Joe.
Look at this f***ing thing. It won't move when it's full of water. It's got no power.
Yeah, the door won't open.
Oh, the door.
Yeah.
You know what's looking really good right now? The tub of the Silverado.
No, I reckon... Oh.
It's not forward. If we want to drive this to the meet,
Yeah.
we need a plank wood there, plank wood there, plank wood there, then tarp it, and the wood holds all the pressure in. The next decision is to work out where to put it. I'm thinking straight on the driveway because it's like nice area. If water goes exploding everywhere, it's just going to run down and basically water the grass. So I think we're going to use the Padge to tow up the DELICA because it doesn't have a motor in it at the moment. Fill it up with water and see how much it'll hold with that back door. If it blows, it's going to empty. If it stays in, we get to have a swim. It's literally like 40 degrees today, so it's a good day to do it. Oh, my Spider-Man quad is back up and running from when I broke my heel. I'm so excited. Ready? Turn that on. Reverse. You! Oh, I wouldn't have done that.
I just blew it up. That is so much water.
Just let it drink the water. When people say diesels can't handle water, they're lying. We need to spin the DELICA around. Nice.
So what we're thinking, I want to have door open so it's like nice and everyone can see and vibrant. So, to door, and then another one this way. She should be mint. Alright, we've arrived at the other hardware store and now it's time to go get a tarp to turn the DELICA into a pool. Don't tell Sam. Turns out tarps are really cheap. It's only 13 bucks for this tarp. What a bargain.
You got the biggest fucking tarp you could.
Alright, time to see how she goes. See if we have any leaks.
All right, the boys have been shopping while I've been sweating my hole off. How's it looking, mate?
We're getting there, mate. We've got
in there.
I reckon 15, 20, and we'll be sweet. You just gotta watch your steps because there's like knives and screws and stuff.
Oh no,
You
you
don't
could
want
have
to pierce
cleaned
the
it.
tarp.
Cali lean is happening. There's a bit of weight in the back of this thing, yeah?
A few moments later.
Get in. How many beers we got? 3! Get out! Mitch was swimming in the DELICA. Is it chilly?
Is it cold?
Anyway, I have no idea why we did this and what we're going to use this video for and what episode it's in, but we did it! There's a pool in the DELICA. This is what happens when we don't feel like working anymore and we need to cool down on a 40-degree day. So let's get back to whatever we're working on in this episode. Probably the XC. Get back to it! Well, the DELICA is coming back though. I've literally already purchased the motor for this car. But we need ideas for the interior, what to do in here.
Oh, you want me to wash it quickly?
How?
Alrighty, good morning. Today is a very special day because yesterday my plasma cutter got up and running. So I've been waiting to do this so I can start making some parts, and the first thing I want to make is a panhard that comes across because the front is obviously just a 3-link sort of setup, but it's not triangulated, so we need to run a panhard. But because it's so lifted, this top mount will need to be a bit of a drop box. So I've done a bit of a design, drawn it up on Fusion so we have all the CAD design sorted. Then I'm just going to use probably like a Patrol panhard, and it's adjustable so we can get that right. I need to make a little spigot to stick onto the diff there, and then a drop mount here. So let's go over to the plasma and cut this thing out. Super exciting. All right, so the guys from Harbour Tech have run me through a few examples with this This is the first time doing it on my own, so I pretty much got the file loaded here and it shows the cut path. Find the home point to set it, so if you've already got things cut, you pretty much start on a new fresh bit of sheet. And hopefully it should work. So I'll whack that down here somewhere. Program, go to work origin, start. Alright, so I've cut out a few more little parts to get this front end together. One thing I was waiting on was like the upper control arm for this like 3-link setup. So I'm gonna weld that on the top of the diff and that'll connect to that top arm there. The panhard mount came out mint. Like the actual finish on that plasma is incredible because I've obviously used my plasma before just by hand, but when you've got a CNC controller, it just keeps it so straight. It's almost bloody laser quality. So super stoked with that. I've welded this up. So this will pretty much, like I've lowered the car down now to get the diff forward because as it comes down, the diff rolls forward more. This is sort of ride height. So I've marked out a good spot for that mount and then we'll run it across to this bottom section, which I still got to weld a pin into that, but that'll essentially go there somewhere and then we'll run an arm across. It's not too much of an angle, but giving it enough of that drop, about 6-8 inch drop there, will hopefully help that angle. So get all this welded up now and then keep moving on to more and more brackets. Like there's literally a massive long list of things we've got to cut since we've got this plasma up and running. So even this is my Ram steering mount, that'll go on there. So just been banging out parts, start whacking them on. All right, we're back on the back end. Now, link separation angle on the rear here. The tricky thing with this, I basically had to raise my lower control arms to sit above the center point on the diff, just because of the lift kit that's in and how high I wanted to sit at ride height. You really had to try and keep them as high as possible. But because of that, since they're higher, the top ones need to come higher. So I had welded on some cross arms on the top here, got all the suspension mocked up and everything. So now we know where it's all sitting. I can measure out the link separation and get that sorted. So we've got 250 mil that we're gonna go from here up, which means we're gonna space this up even higher. I've just used the CNC to cut up a bit of a brace across here, so it gives it some cross bracing. And then we're gonna plate the top of it here. That spaces it up a bit more. And then I've made some slightly longer links, which will go on here across to those crossbars. Now that will give us enough separation there. I'm also going to add a second link on the bottom control arms as well, kind of like the front radius arm where it grabs the top and bottom of the diff. The biggest thing when you're running big tires is the diff wants to try and roll over. So having that extra link on the bottom will help give it that stability, and then raising these uppers will take a bit of pressure off of that system. So I'm going to tack this up now, get everything measured up, and hopefully we are within spec. So it's really tricky because a lot of these 3 links that you set up are usually on a car that's at normal ride height where the diff's kind of in line with all the rest of the driveline. But because it's all offset, it's a little bit tricky. You got to give and take some different places on the design. So let's see how we go with that. Alrighty, so I've got the bracing on the rear diff pretty close. Now the upper control arm links, I'm not going to fully weld in yet because we need to know the pinion angle to reset that length. I'm probably going to have to cut and weld new joins on it. So Mitch is just rolling the diffs out now. So we want to get both the diffs fully apart and actually get the motor in. So if over here, I managed to finally get my motor back. So we've got the big block, the old 454. Now I made the decision to try and mock everything up before I assemble the engine for 2 reasons. Number one, these old motors are super heavy. Cast iron block, cast iron heads, really heavy and hard to deal with. And 2, if I assemble it now with all the lube and all the prep you have to do, spending weeks and weeks setting all this up, it's better to build the motor and get it running straight away. So I'm gonna mock everything up. I made some plates for the engine mounts. What we're gonna do is attach the gearbox, transfer case, engine, get the whole driveline together, put it on a bit of a stand so it sits just off the ground, roll both the diffs out, drop the whole body on top of the drive line so we can make mounts, hopefully make engine mounts, transmission mounts, to the point where we can lift the chassis and car back up in the air with the motor in it, which will tell us the pinion angle, then roll the diffs back in and set that rear diff to match what the engine and drive line's doing. And at that point, we can measure those rear links and finish the control arm. So there's a bit of mucking around, putting everything together and pulling it apart again, but it's what we need to do. So we're gonna rip into that and finally see how this motor sits in this car. Can I just say I got the color theme pretty damn good. Look at that red on red. It's like the same as the seat. Look who's rolled in. All right, so I walked in and Mitch just attacked the car with a grinder, but it makes life easy. So we're gonna come through the front now. My initial plan of dropping the chassis on top of everything was never gonna work because it's got that drop box in there. So the transfer case needs to like slide in that hole. It'll go back on. Just Zeus it on. It's removable. Oh, someone didn't paint the underside. Whose job was that? Well, we found our first issue. So this has quite a large little drop box section, but yeah, we either get a low profile transmission pan.
It used to go like this.
Yeah, we used to go sideways and we dropped it down. Oh, all right, it's not ideal, but we've got the oil pan sump off now. I'm going to try and either get a low profile one or, oh God, or figure out how to make some clearance with it. So we'll get this on. Getting a little hectic now, so the motor's in. Sort of in position. So what we've found first is our like lateral position, like where we want the flanges for the drive shafts. It needs to come up about 4 or 5 inches, but we're hitting the floor inside. So we're going to cut a section of the floor out so we can get the transfer case up, make a new tunnel, a new shell out of some alley or something, get this motor up sitting where I want it. And then it should stay where it is and we can just start building some bars and engine mounts. But it's sitting a bit low, especially with the blower and everything. The whole idea is to get this thing sitting higher than the roof. So height is what I want. So I'd rather it sitting higher than lower. So get in there with a grinder and cut her out. Good boy. Okay, this morning we've done the transmission cross-member mount as well. Don't judge, if it works, it works. We might add some more gusseting and stuff, but really wanted to get them mocked up. So engine mounts are done, transmission cross-members half done. So now we're gonna pull the whole driveline out, separate the motor, and what we're gonna do is head down to Dave's from Metamorphic Laser. So that's next level plasma cutting, is a laser. Those things are worth like 200-300 grand, and he's been working in the background on my intake manifold. So that's got to be custom to go from the big block to the 671 blower, but I want it high rise. Everything I found on the internet doesn't fit what I want, so we're going to custom make one out of Ali and make all the plates. So we're going to head down, take the actual motor to him so we can get the exact profile, work out where the ports are got to go and stuff, and set this thing as high as we can to get that blower sitting nice and high. So we'll head down there now and see what he's come up with. Did I mention we were taking the Cape York Padge? What a weapon. What a parts runner. What a parts runner. It'll fit in there nicely. Alrighty, we're down here with Dan at Metamorphic. Got the extremely cool laser cutter here, so the boys have been working on a bit of a design. So we've got the motor here. I think we're going to cut a couple of test pieces and then pretty much see what we need to change to make it fit. I left the boys with a couple of gaskets from the blower plate and the manifold. So that's an old supercharger manifold that's not for my engine. So we have the top piece to work with. And then off the gasket, is working with the heads, but now we've got the extra motor, we can really nail it. So I think what we're gonna do is combine, because these ports are so close, combine them into one kind of rectangular tube. But the biggest thing is just working out how much angle we can get out of them to make it high rise. So that's basically a rough design.
Yeah, we've got the full model there.
Yeah.
And SolidWorks as well, but that's what we're with the DXF for the trial.
Yeah. Man, it's sunny out here. Alrighty, so we've spent last hour or so just mocking stuff up, done a couple of test cuts, working out the angle and what size runners we're going to use. It looks like this will work. There's a little bit of overlap with the ports, but that can be filled with weld and it's not going to affect the flow too much. Pretty much now the boys are going to cut it all up. We did the best angle we could get about 250 mil of height, which means overall with the blowers, carbies, everything, we should be sitting about 800 high, which is meant near the roof height. That's the main thing. So we'll let Dan and the boys just cut this up over Chrissy and get it all bent up, and then we're gonna have to find a TIG welder who can TIG this together, because it's gonna be a mish. It needs to be airtight, no leaks, no pinholes, and get it all finished off. So we'll see how we go. See you in the new year with this, but we're gonna move on to something else at the moment, because we can't be waiting around for parts all day, can we?
All right, so we've had the DELICA pool going for a couple of days now, and it's very zesty and zesty in there with pretty much every age you can possibly imagine. It's time to open her up. We're gonna see what happens.
This is
Big Mac's going for a ride.
Big Mac motor change. DELICA Rapids.
We're gonna open the boot. That's all that's covering the toe ball. Are you joking? Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way you'll be able to do it.
pressure on the hinge.
You hold pressure on it and hit it with a hammer.
Oh.
In the middle, Mitch. Oh! Oh! Yeah! You're joking! You're joking! That worked mid! Oh!
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, I didn't hit record.